Alright people, Max Alden here again. Welcome back to another video. Today, just gonna talk a little bit about Blue Reflection Second Light, the recent game that I got a platinum in. Not a very well known franchise, Blue Reflection, I don't think. I think it's got a few fans around, but it's not really talked about that much. It's not really that well known. I think it's got pretty decent reviews, the first two games that they've done. But it's no masterpiece by any stretch of the imagination. But it's a pretty decent series. And I really liked the second one quite a lot more than the first. It just had a bit more going on mechanically. It had more characters. The story was pretty interesting. And I just really enjoyed the sort of chill, relaxed vibe. Hanging around the school, getting to know the characters. I think if you enjoyed something like Persona, you'll probably like this, but you have to keep in mind it's got such a low production value compared to Persona that what's really going to make or break this game for you is if you get attached to these characters pretty early on, because the level design and the combat and everything like that, it's all pretty basic. It did hold my attention, and I think if you put it up to a higher difficulty level and you really want to get stuck into the combat, it'll hold your attention more. But otherwise, if you're just going for the platinum, you don't really need to complete it on the hardest difficulty or anything like that. So you can just put it to easy or whatever the easiest mode is and just sort of breeze through the story and get all your trophies, which most of them are story related, and then there's a few for collectibles and leveling up every character to maximum level. You do have to go into New Game Plus once you beat the game once to sort of finish leveling up some characters and stuff like that, but it's not going to take that long. And yeah, mainly the thing that sort of draws you into this game will be the characters and the relationships each character has. I first got really drawn into the game once I started to learn more about the backstory of Yuki, who's probably my favourite character now that I've beaten the game. I thought she had a really cute relationship with Rena, and there's a lot of tragedy in the story too, a lot of sort of melancholy and quite tender moments, and it was pretty well written, and I think it really hit some more emotional highs than the first game. Characters from the first game do return. They're sort of side characters in this one, but people who enjoyed the first cast, the three main characters from the first one, they will be back here, so you've got that to look forward to. There's a lot of stuff to do with collectibles and crafting and cooking in the game. It's where quite a few trophies come in. So you're going to be looking for ingredients out in the main combat zones. Just collect everything you see, save it up, bring it back to the school. Then you'll probably you'll have some requests from your classmates or your party, if you want to call them that, and you'll just craft stuff for them, build more stuff for the school that'll power you up. That was a trophy for building a capsule machine for Yuki. So then you can level her up when you do stuff like that. And each character is going to have a list of stuff that they want you to build for them. So a lot of the side content revolves around that sort of building stuff for the school. Again, it's very simple, very basic. Don't expect too much from this system. But I thought it was fun, and the main thing was the writing and the sort of relationship between all the characters. That's what's really going to draw you into this game. Otherwise, if you're expecting a more sort of fleshed out, combat heavy traditional JRPG, you might not be as interested in this title. But for me at this time of the year, I wanted sort of something easy, just to relax, sort of chill out. Good old fashioned turn-based JRPG with some nice characters, good music. Maybe you just want something a little bit different. Maybe you don't normally play JRPGs, or you don't like turn-based games because they're too weird and difficult to get into. But this one, again, if you put it on the easiest difficulty, it's very easy going. And the main core of the game isn't the combat really, it is getting to know all these characters and uncovering the sort of mystery of why you're at this school in what appears to be an island in the middle of nowhere. And sort of trying to figure out why you're there, get your memories back, get everyone else's memories back, and sort of piecing together this pretty interesting story. The crafting, again, if you're not into crafting, it might be a bit of a tricky game to get into, because a lot of the game does focus around being able to go into the combat areas, defeat some monsters, get items from them that can help you craft things, and then come back to the school and then build some more items for your party that they've requested of you. You really can transform the school a lot by the end with all the facilities you can build. And it does get you a lot of really fun conversations with each of the characters when you build stuff for them. There's always a lot of scenes where you can invite a character on a date, basically, over to one of the new facilities you've built. And it'll usually be pretty funny and pretty cute dialogue. I don't know how well this second game sold, but I hope it did alright, and I would like a third game, because the trajectory this series is on, it seems to be getting better with each title, which is always nice to see. A lot of the time with series and JRPGs, usually the first one is pretty good, and then the sequels, they never get back to how good the first one was. But with this one, I think because they're both pretty low budget, you can really see an improvement when the second one just had a bit more to it. And I think if they do a third one, it probably means the second one also sold really well, or well enough to get a sequel at least. And maybe the third one will have even more budget put into it. Hopefully it'll get some more fans to this sort of niche franchise. And they'll be able to do an even better job with a third Blue Reflection. There isn't really a cliffhanger at the end of the story where you're left wondering, is there going to be a third game? They need a third game to really tie up this story. It's sort of self-contained, though it does link back to the first one with some of the characters they do bring back. But yeah, I'd say you can go into the second one as the only one you've played if you really want to, because I'm aware the first Blue Reflection, the physical disc version at least, is kind of rare now for some reason. I was looking on eBay, and yeah, it's gonna cost you €100 in Europe anyway, or above that, to get a disc version. I guess it was a very limited print. I was lucky enough to buy a disc version in about 2019 or something like that. So it was a few years after the game came out, and it was still pretty low. It was pretty low price back then. It was about I want to say it was about £20 in the UK. I just got it on Amazon. I think it was a brand new copy as well. But you really can't buy a copy off Amazon now. They're sort of sold out, and the only people selling it are resellers, and they've all jacked the price way up. So if you're worried about having to play the first game before going into the second one, don't worry about it too much, and I'd say you can just jump into the second one if you really want to. You're not going to get some references to the characters that are brought back, and you might not be as invested in certain story moments that involve them. But I think if you connect with the other characters that you're introduced to, that's mainly what you're going to get out of this game. Is really sweet and fun character moments. It is a very funny game, and it does hit some emotional highs once you get sort of invested in these characters. But again, back to the trophy list. It really is a pretty simple platinum. You might be a little burnt out by the end of the first playthrough if you've been doing everything possible and you've been talking to all the characters, because a lot of it sometimes it does fall into being a visual novel if you do all the dates and talk to the characters as often as you can, because there's so much dialogue and conversations. Again, that's really where the game shines, is just the character interactions. Um, but you do have to go into New Game Plus at the end of your first playthrough to basically do what I was doing for the last few trophies here, which was to get the level, your relationship level or whatever it was called, with each of the characters, get it up to level 10. You do have to finish that up in New Game, and then you'll get your Platinum Trophy. And again, pretty simple one, pretty fun. And yeah, I recommend this game. Thanks for watching. See you again next time.